We're going to go ahead and put it in and see if it expands at that temperature. Okay, it did expand at that temperature. Welcome back to the community, everybody, and thank you for being part of it. I truly appreciate it. And to the folks that have been sending in donations, thank you so much. If you can help out with a donation to keep the channel alive, drop down into the description. You'll see a secured link for PayPal. I'd really appreciate it. Today, what we're going to do, since I'm waiting on my rails for the trunk seal, because I'm going to watch removing the old rails, I'm seeming to have trouble getting new ones, and I don't know why. Who knows why we're having troubles like we are with all these parts now. I'm delaying that, not a whole week, but as soon as I can get them in. Today, we're going to go ahead and test a thermostat for the engine we're putting together. I figured while I'm testing it, I'm going to go ahead and do a tutorial on it. I've done them in the past, but I'm going to get a little deeper in discussing the thermostat because a lot of people think that you really don't need them, you shouldn't run them, blah, blah. So let's go ahead and get on the video. And something else I forgot to bring up. As you know, you're used to seeing the regulars member shirts, okay? Now we have our second member shirt with it. It's pretty cool, I think. Ignore my microphone. But if you want one, just pop down and go to the website and order a t-shirt. I think it's cool. Okay, what I'm going to try to do today is make this like air-cooled thermostat 101, okay? So I'm going to explain different temperatures throughout them, you know, from different ones, and also not having them, having them. We're going to test one, pretty much do everything I possibly can. So what we're going to do first, we're going to take our original German thermostat. Let me pop the bolt out here. It goes into the holder, and you'll see a slot. There's a slot that it actually seats into, so it can't spin. So we're going to go ahead and put our bolt in. Come on. Just cleaned this up. Okay. Let me grab a 13. Okay. Let me just tighten that up. And of course, anything to mess me around when I'm on video.
Come on.
Now, what you see here, and we're going to go over a lot today with this, is the thermostat when it's cold. Okay, when it is warmed up, it will go ahead and move to the top, and we'll go over that together. I'll show you what I'm talking about, all right? Now, this is a mock-up real quick, just to give you an idea before we start discussing everything. If I can actually get it to thread on, come on. I swear when you're filming, anything can go wrong, Will. Okay, so this is actually bolted to the side of the engine block, all right? As most of you know, in case you're new to this, all right, these flaps, okay, when you start, I'm moving them because they need cleaned up and, you know, fitted. When you start your car up, okay, the flaps are usually should be in the closed position. Sometimes they're angled slightly, just like that, okay? And it allows it to warm up properly. Now, when this is warming up, let me bring you in right here. When your car starts warming up, cylinder head, etc., this will expand, okay? And when it expands, it is going to push up, which pushes on this rod, and it's going to slowly open these up to where you have air coming from your fan. And we'll go over that in a second, okay? However, once the car starts to cool down and it starts pulling back into the position it's in right now, then you will notice it will start closing like that, okay? And it doesn't let the air circulate down. So what you have is your alternator. Once your crankshaft belt is spinning the alternator, it is spinning this fan inside, okay? And as you can see, the blades, once it's inside of there and spinning, it's throwing air down, okay? And I'm going somewhere with this. The air is coming down, and it's either going through here to your heater boxes to give you heat, or it's going down through right on top of your jugs, okay? And that's what's cooling. Whenever it feels it hits a certain temperature, this thermostat will push up and expand, okay? And when it does, it will change how much air is coming through. And as it needs to, it'll shrink down and still control the air. These are important. Before we test it, we're going to go over a couple of things with it. Okay, momentarily, I'm going to show you how to test this, okay? And we're going to go ahead and get the water up to a certain temperature. We'll check it with a thermometer, and we'll test this for accuracy, okay? So, one thing I do want to go over, are there different ones at different temperatures? Surprisingly, there really is. The early 36 horsepower ones, okay, the early thermostats, okay, opened from 75 to 80 degrees Celsius. So there was a difference in them. Now, your typical Type 1 carburetor thermostats like this, they open up right around 149 to 158 degrees Fahrenheit, okay, on an average, right in that spectrum. Now, the Type 1 fuel injection, they open a little bit differently. Not much, but a little. They open up from 176 to 185 degrees Fahrenheit, okay? So they are slightly different. I believe, I'll have to check, I thought there was numbers on these. Now, for the Type 4 engines and fuel injection, the Porsche 912, 914, four-cylinder engines, that is, they begin opening around 185 to 194 degrees Fahrenheit, okay? So those are a little different also. And just a little useless knowledge, the Porsche 356 doesn't have flaps. And I went into that because it's air-cooled. It actually opens up ductwork. So they're a little bit different. Now, here's something that's a little messy, a little odd. Now, the New Mexico, the VW Mexico one's a little bit weird here. There's two different ones. One opens at 65 to 70 degrees Celsius, and the other opens at 80 to 85 degrees Celsius. I don't know what the thought process was with that. And believe it or not, it has the same part number. What? It does. So, okay, let's move along. A couple things I'll go over with you also. We're going to get this water temperature up to about 160 degrees. So, got my happy thermometer here. We're going to go ahead and test this. Make sure that your thermostat is in its holder. Do not, never, don't be an idiot and put this in the water without it in its bracket, or you will just destroy it completely and throw it over a hillside. So you don't want to do that. So I have, whoop, I guess I should probably turn this on. This is just the regular electric hot plate because Heather won't let me do it in the house. She said, you'll get grease everywhere. So I did actually get hot water out of the spigot, so it should warm up fairly fast. I'll check the temperature and see where it's at. Alrighty, let me see. I know it's not going to be 160 degrees, but it's going up. We're at 100. Yeah, it's got to heat up. So the hot plate's on. So while the water's heating up, so don't waste your time afterwards, we'll go over a couple of things while the water's getting hot. So here we go of why you should use a thermostat. So this would be a lot of questions that normally come up, or good explanations. Now, just bear with me. I'm letting this water warm up. Do I need a thermostat? Yes, I believe you do. And I know there's going to be people in the comments saying, I never run one. If you feel better not running one, then don't. It's your motor. It's fine. I respect your opinion also. But I live down south, or it doesn't get cold at all where I live. Or technically, I only drive in the summer. Okay? The thermostat is not on there to cool the motor. That's not what that does. It regulates the air to the engine. That it does do. When it starts out, it's in a closed position, okay? So it's holding the flaps closed to allow the engine to warm up properly. You don't want the flaps open all the time, and some people remove them completely, and they just have air blown on the engine from the minute they start it. Touch your motor, even if you live down south, before you start it and warm it up. Don't be crazy. And put your hand on it, and I'm sure it's pretty cool. But you want it to warm up slowly, okay? The cylinder heads, and of course, basically your piston jugs, you want them to warm up the way they're supposed to, the way it was designed to work, okay? They did it for a reason. So if you are starting it up and you don't have your thermostat, okay, and you have it gutted, hopefully, if you don't have thermostat, you don't have the flaps in there. But the point I'm getting at is it's never going to warm up the way it was designed to, which will cause premature wear in the piston jugs. Okay, I hope that makes sense, because you want them to warm up the right way. So that's the first thing. And then I'm going to check this temperature in a minute on the water. Okay, I just checked. We're only at 120 degrees, so I'm waiting a little longer. Can the flaps get stuck closed? Yes, they can actually. If they're rusted, you have the bar in the back that's bent, any type of thing. If your spring is not on, you have to have a spring on the back of it. So yes, can it happen? Of course it can. And you will overheat that motor and it'll be over. But that's not normal. Take care of your car and you won't have to worry about that. Can the thermostat fail in a closed position? I mean, anything can happen. I won't say it can't happen, but they were designed pretty much fail-safe. If this was to fail, or the first way you'd know is it's expanded completely in here, okay? It'll hit the top. So that would mean it's a bad thermostat. But what that also means is it would hold the flaps open completely, okay? That way it's fail-safe until you can go ahead and get a new one, which you can't get now. You can go through Awesome Powder Coat, and they will go ahead and you can get they're pretty pricey, a refurbished German one, okay? I don't know much about the internals of them, but can they fail in a closed position? Anything is possible, but it's very extremely highly unlikely, because when they fail, they expand. Everything's the flaps are opened up, and that's that. So, okay, let me check the temperature again. I'm at 120 so far. Now, one thing you need to know is I'm speaking of the German style. Speaking of the Mexican style, yeah, they can fail and put you in a really bad situation. They can fail where the flaps are closed. Not a good idea. I just wanted to let you know about that. We're at 132 degrees, so it's almost there. Okay, we're almost getting there. We're at 150, so I'm going to try to cram this stuff in real quick, okay? Now, what these have is a small amount of liquid inside, a very small amount, not as much as you would think. And as this liquid heats up in the bellows, and that it expands, okay? And that's what causes this to open up. What happens is this liquid actually like vaporizes, and it causes these bellows to expand as it's heated. So it will fill this whole bracket up to pull the flaps open, okay? If the liquid ever leaks out, it'll cause this to expand automatically, meaning fail-safe so that it opens up and the flaps are open. Now, I can't guarantee this. If your motor ends up going poo-poo, I can't help that, okay? All I'm saying is these are supposed to be in a fail-safe position when they take a crap. So that's why these are considered fail-safe. Now, the Mexican ones, and I don't have one on hand, I don't buy them, they have wax inside of them, so they're a little bit different. When the wax heats up, that's what causes the Mexican ones to expand. The unit itself has a very high tension spring that keeps it held closed. So they are set up a little differently. I would have to say I don't believe that they're fail-safe. Let's check our temperature one more time so I can show you how this works. So my engine is at such and such degrees temperature. Should my flaps open now? No, not necessarily. Okay, so don't try to connect the two together, and I'm going to explain. Your oil temperature and the hot air coming off of the cylinders or the jugs are completely different. So don't try to tie the two together and say, my oil temperature is at blah, blah degrees. Here we go with blah, blah. I say that a lot. My flaps didn't open yet. What's going on? No, don't try to connect the two together. That is not how that works, okay? And another one I've encountered with people is, and it's not their fault, you know, I drove my car for 5 minutes and the flaps aren't open, I don't think. I drove my car for 10 minutes and the flaps aren't open. You can't go by that. There isn't a certain time frame. And one thing I can assure you of, when they do open, they open pretty quick. You know what I mean? And you'll see when I put this in the water. So it's not always what you think, like, oh, in 10 minutes the flaps will open. That's not how that works. So know that. We are at temperature. Let me show you something, okay? Okay, so I'm going to check the temperature. So I'm going to bring you in close. You don't have to look at me for a little bit. And we'll go ahead and test this out, all right? So let's take a look here and see where we are. Watch, because this water is really hot. But I think you know that. Don't be an idiot about it. Okay, we are heading up towards 170. I'm going to turn this down now. It's really hot. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and let it cool just a little wee bit, and we'll go ahead and test it out. Give me 1 second. So let's check our temperature now. It got out of control, probably from me talking. I want to make sure that we're not too hot. We want to, like I said, it starts opening between 150 and 160 degrees. Okay, so we're almost there. We're at 170. I'm going to give it a quick dip to show you. Okay, now make sure you use pliers to hold it. Do not put your hands in there. Don't be an idiot. All right, so what we're going to do, and I'll bring you in really close now, we're going to go ahead and put it in and see if it expands at that temperature. See the air bubbles? Okay, it did expand at that temperature. Now, I'm going to go ahead and blow on it, as dumb as that sounds, to get it to cool down to retest. I don't feel like dragging the air nozzle over for the compressor. Okay, so we are at almost 168. So it isn't closed completely, but I don't have the airline over here. So we're going to put it in. And as you see, it filled the bracket. Okay. So I'm going to cool it down real quick, and we'll test it one more time as the temperature drops a little bit lower. So let's check the temperature one more time. I like to see where it's at. Okay, and we are at Oh, okay, that's perfect. Right around 160. Okay. And as I had said before, 150 to 160. So let's try it. And we'll take a peek at it. And it's open completely. Can you see that? See what I mean? And as it cools, of course, it'll start coming down. I was blowing on it. So, and there you have it. Okay. Now remember what I said earlier in the beginning, there's different temperatures for the different engines, okay? For the most part, they're pretty close, but it's worth checking out. This one is fully functioning perfectly well, okay? This is on the Thing motor that I'm putting together. We were waiting on parts to get done, so I'm not filming that whole thing because I have other engine ones up. So always check these. Awesome powder coat. No, I don't get nothing crap from them. They do have the original German ones. At least they did. So you can check that if you want to. Just go onto Google and punch in awesome powder coat VW. It'll come up. But this one is good. Be careful messing around with hot water like that. And let's close out and tell you what should be coming up. I need parts. All right. Now to some of you, maybe that was a stupid video. But probably for the most of you, it's not a stupid video. And I'm sure in the comments, people are going to say, I've been running for years without one. And that's fine. You know, do what you feel's right. I'm just giving you a little bit of knowledge that I do have. The rails didn't come in yet like they were supposed to for the front trunk seal. So I have not pried the old ones off yet. Because if I can't get them for any reason, I don't want to destroy the old ones. I did check your tracking number, though, while I was doing this video, and it shows they're on the way, so hopefully. And then we'll go ahead and dig into that front seal body work up front this coming week. So I hope everybody has had a great day, and you have an amazing weekend, and I'll see you soon.